Welcome to Shujin Academy VGM Club. I'm Professor Tom, your faculty sponsor. Today's opening track is Introduction from the Super Nintendo port of UN Squadron, composed by Mari Yamaguchi, Toshio Kajino, and Yasushi Ikeda. It sounds soaring and inspiring, like you're ready to take off and conquer whatever life throws at you. It's a new year, and that means new opportunities, new beginnings, and new challenges for all of us to face. And for this episode, I'm doing a sequel to my long-ago episode called Playing with Power. This is another playlist full of kick-ass tracks that make you feel like you can go out and take on the world. To start things off, we're going to hear from Frank Klepacki's soundtrack for the original Command & Conquer for your MS-DOS personal computer. This is hardly the first Frank Klepacki soundtrack, but it's probably the one that put him on the map. The industrial rock template that he established for this early real-time strategy game became a fixture of the franchise, and he returned to compose for several of the Command & Conquer expansion packs, sequels, and the Red Alert spin-off games. Moving from real-time military strategy to turn-based military strategy, our second song is Power from Advance Wars Dual Strike for the Nintendo DS, composed by Taishi Senda, who's borrowing from Yoshito Hirano's soundtrack for the previous game in the series, Advance Wars 2. This series started off as Famicom Wars on the Nintendo Famicom, and included Japanese exclusive entries on the Game Boy and Super Famicom, but we didn't see anything here in North America until they made a game for the Game Boy Advance. The third song in the block comes from the third game in the Street Fighter Alpha series. It'll be Last Duel, Story Demo 3, from the arcade release of Street Fighter Alpha 3, and it was composed by Isao Abe. I really appreciate how the Alpha 3 team broke away from the other games in the series and developed its own sound and songs for each character. Even if this soundtrack doesn't always hit the iconic highs of Yoko Shimomura's work on the original Street Fighter 2, it's still a rockin' good time. We're going back to your personal computer for the block's fourth track. It'll be Operation Overlord from Quake 2, the sequel to id Software's revolutionary polygonal first-person shooter. This game was composed by Sascha Dikiciyan under the pseudonym of Sonic Mayhem, and it's an industrial rock track that sounds like kicking a door down and announcing that you're here to give out a beatdown. Fun fact, Sascha Dikiciyan got the gig composing Quake 2 because he made his own alternate soundtrack for the original Quake and then sent it to id Software's John Romero, who was impressed enough to bring Dikiciyan in for the official Quake 2 soundtrack. Song number 5 in the block is Level Up from Shin Megami Tensei for the Super Famicom, composed by Tsukasa Masuko. According to Wikipedia, this was Masuko's first soundtrack for the Super Famicom, and he considered it to be pretty experimental. Whatever he called it, this is certainly an industrial-flavored track that sounds like winning. Speaking of songs from long-running JRPG franchises, our sixth song in the block is Chase of Shadow from the original PC-88 release of Ys, Ancient Ys Vanished, the very first game in the venerable Ys series, coming to us from the incomparable Yuzo Koshiro. Koshiro was 19 years old when he wrote this soundtrack, and he liked composing for the PC-88 so much that he kept using it as a major composition tool for years afterwards. I understand that he even goes back to it nowadays to write tunes sometimes. Finally in the block, we're jumping from the PC-88 all the way forward to the Xbox 360 for an epic boss confrontation track from another legendary composer, Nobuo Uematsu. You're going to hear Howl of the Departed from Lost Odyssey. Uematsu is very good at writing these kinds of songs, and I'm an unabashed fanboy of his, so one of his songs finishes each of today's 3 blocks. This particular song also features lyrics from Lost Odyssey's producer Hironobu Sakaguchi, and it's got quite the choral ensemble providing vocals. It's time to get out and make things happen. Let's go!
We are going to have to act if we want to live in a different world. There is a very unstable situation on the ground that is unfolding very quickly.
Those songs were Act on Instinct from Command & Conquer, Power from Advance Wars Dual Strike, Last Duel Story Demo 3 from Street Fighter Alpha 3, Operation Overlord from Quake 2, Level Up from Shin Megami Tensei, Chase of Shadow from Ys, Ancient Ys Vanished, and finally, Howl of the Departed from Lost Odyssey. Kicking off our second music block is Awe of She, the theme of Dizzy from Guilty Gear XX for the PlayStation 2, composed by Guilty Gear series mastermind and blistering guitar solo enthusiast Daisuke Ishwatari. There's a lot of lore in the Guilty Gear games. I think it's actually got the most lore of any fighting game franchise, which is saying a lot for a genre where entries typically feature dozens of characters and multiple entries. I've never been able to get good at these games, but they're a lot of fun to look at, with their eccentric cast and colorful anime visuals. They also have some great metal soundtracks, and this song perfectly captures today's empowerment theme. For the second song in the second block, I'm heading to a Persona spin-off game with Daredevil from multi-platform title Persona 5 Strikers. This track was composed by Gota Masuoka, who looks to be a member of Koei's sound team instead of someone from the Atlas Gang, but he did a great job of capturing the Persona 5 sound. Lyrics here were written by Jasmine Webb, and vocals are provided by Lynn, who's been the go-to singer for most of the Persona 5 vocal tracks. Third up, you're going to hear Kiss in the Dark from Metal Slug 3 for your Neo Geo MVS and AES systems, composed by the team of Takushi Hiyamuta, Yoshihiko Wada, Masato Horiyuchi, Kyujiro, and Maiko Iuchi. All the Metal Slug games have a similar feel, with solid platforming action, a Saddam Hussein lookalike villain, and tentacled space aliens, and they were all strongly influenced by the Contra games, which is where we're going for the fourth song in the block. It'll be Maze Fortress 1 from the original arcade release of Contra. I've played both the arcade and NES versions of this game, and I think the NES port is actually a better game than the arcade original, although the arcade game definitely has the superior soundtrack. Composer Kazuki Muraoka here went on to do a ton more work for Konami, most notably as sound director for multiple entries in the Metal Gear Solid series. Closing out the block, we'll be having an epic confrontation with Battle at the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, composed by Nobuo Uematsu and arranged for modern consoles by Yuko Komiyama and Hidenori Miyanaga. This version of the track feels somewhere between the original Super Famicom song and the version done by Uematsu's heavy metal band The Black Mages, where they brought in some shredding guitars but also kept the horn sounds from the original. It's a great way to finish out our second block, so let's rock some faces now. Those songs were Awe of She, Dizzy's theme from Guilty Gear XX, Daredevil from Persona 5 Strikers, Kiss in the Dark from Metal Slug 3, Maze Fortress 1 from the arcade version of Contra, and finally, Battle at the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. It's time for a word from our sponsor. How many times have you listened to this podcast and wished that you could be as rich and famous as me, Professor Tom? Well, it's your lucky day, because I'm taking non-refundable deposits from people like you for my Professor Tom Podcasting Seminar of Success. You'll spend a weekend in a hotel ballroom listening to me talk about how great I am and how VGM podcasting is the first step on the path toward untold wealth and clout. But that's not all. Other speakers will be there too. You'll hear from people similar to motivational entrepreneurs Gary Vaynerchuk and Brandon Burchard. Learn how to leverage the secrets of AI, cryptocurrency, and other buzzwords to pave your path to profits. Head over to ProfessorTomSuccessSeminar.com to sign up and use promo code ProfTom to get 10% off. Slots are going fast, so sign up today. Now, back to the show. Our last music block includes no less than 3 final boss themes, and we're going to start off with the classic Burn My Dread Last Battle from Persona 3 for the PlayStation 2. This song was composed by Shoji Meguro, with lyrics from Reiko Tanaka and vocals from Yumi Kawamura and Lotus Juice, and it was famously misprinted in the original release of the soundtrack as Burn My Bread, implying that the final boss of Persona 3 is actually a vindictive toaster. Regardless, it's a great song and an awesome way to start off the block. Heading over to a classic Sega Genesis tactical RPG, we'll hear Dark Soul Battle from Shining Force, composed by Masahiko Yoshimura. Yoshimura's identity is a mystery. There are only 2 games credited to them, and there's a wealth of speculation online that the Masahiko Yoshimura name is actually a pseudonym. Whoever they are, the Shining Force soundtrack has a lot of awesome tracks, and I'm happy to play another song from it on my show. Taking a break from boss fight themes, we'll move to Final Fight 3 for the Super Nintendo and a track called Chinese Takeout, composed by Katsunari Kitajima. There are only a handful of Kitajima soundtracks. For whatever reason, he didn't do a lot of work in the games industry. His work on Final Fight 3 is really good, though. I'm sure Kitajima's soundtrack is the reason that copies of Final Fight 3 are worth more than $100 nowadays. Definitely the soundtrack, and not any other reason. The penultimate song in the block is called Queen, and it's from the arcade version of King of Fighters 11, composed by Hideki Asanaka. KOF 11 was the first mainline entry in the series to use a number instead of a year, probably owing to the fact that it came out 3 years after King of Fighters 2003, and the fact that the KOF 2006 name had already been claimed in the North American market by series spin-off Maximum Impact 2. Asanaka was an SNK veteran when he took on lead composing duties for KOF 11, and I think this is one of the game's standout tracks. For the last song in the block, I'm going to play one of the greatest end-boss themes ever. It'll be Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, composed by the great Nobuo Uematsu. I'm not going to play the whole song, because it's more than 17 minutes long, and it's got several movements. I'm just going to play the end section, because that's the one that kicks in during the climax of the game's final confrontation, and because that's the part that best fits the feel for today's episode. This song was arranged for modern platforms for the Pixel Remaster project by Yuko Komiyama, and it's quite the roller coaster ride. Enjoy! I will...
behind you just now. If you ever win that race against rage, then you the king, cause it's no man's land. Masters in heavy rain, ultimate with fame. Make shots slay, what they done is in vain. Yelling AK-47, 24/7, but you got 11 persecuted by heaven. Comes with a direction, no indication. You got to let it move first, let it out, let it down, let it inside, let loose, let it in, depress. Let's get it up. Then what you gonna do is drop the hammer down. Drop rhyme, drop hammer, take it like a labor. You got blood all over, ash all over. Spit it out, some game's over. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. Invisible hands are behind you just now. If you ever win that race against rage, then you the king, cause it's no man's land. Masters in heavy rain, ultimate with fame. Make shots slay, what they done is in vain. Yelling AK-47, 24/7, but you got 11 persecuted by heaven. Comes with a direction, no indication. You got to let it move first, let it out, let it down, let it inside, let loose, let it in, depress. Let's get it up. Then what you gonna do is drop the hammer down. Drop rhyme, drop hammer, take it like a labor. You got blood all over, ash all over. Spit it out, some game's over. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life.
Those songs were Burn My Dread, Last Battle from Persona 3, Dark Soul Battle from Shining Force, Chinese Takeout from Final Fight 3, Queen from King of Fighters 11, and finally, Dancing Mad, Act 4 from Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. That's the show! If you want to reach me, I'm most active on Blue Sky as shujinacademy.bsky.social. You can also find me on Threads, Tumblr, or Instagram as Shujin Academy VGM Club. I'm on Mastodon at Shujin Academy VGM Club at mastodon.coffee, and my username on Discord is Professor Tom. All episodes of the show are posted to my YouTube channel, which you can find by searching for Shujin Academy VGM Club. You can email me at shujinacademyvgmclub@gmail.com. Links to everything are available on my Linktree at linktr.ee/shujinacademy. Please leave me a 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you're finding this episode. New episodes are released once or twice a month, depending on how often I get them done, and they premiere on Thursday mornings on your favorite podcatcher and on 8beats.co, the internet's #1 game music radio station. My show is also featured on TerraPlayer, the cool app that's a destination for gaming podcasts and other content, so you can check me out there. If you're listening on Spotify, please be aware that they've pulled a few of my episodes before. There's a non-zero chance that they'll eventually pull my entire podcast, as they've done with a few other game music podcasts, so I'd strongly suggest you subscribe elsewhere to be sure you can get all the Professor Tom goodness you crave. Special thanks for this episode goes out to fellow VGM podcaster Jameson of Bar Silence Podcast for contributing cover art. You can and should find Bar Silence wherever you download podcasts, and check out his website at barsilence.com. I've got one more song to play us out, and it's the main theme for the episode's cover boy. This song is called Spread the Wings, and it's Rock Howard's theme from Garu, Mark of the Wolves for the Neo Geo, composed by Akihiro Uchida, Masato Horiyuchi, and Yasuhiro Naka. I'm really pumped for this game's sequel that's coming out this year, so it's a great kick-ass song to close the show. Thanks for listening. I'm Professor Tom, and I'll see you next time on Shujin Academy VGM Club.